Commence primary ignition.
I'm just not the hero type, clearly.
What a piece of junk.
Enterprise, this is the captain.
I got a bad feeling about this.
It's all part of the plan.
Engage.
Welcome back to Podcast 2 for 1. I'm your host, Donovan Thompson, with my co-host,
Daniel Wingfield.
Today is episode 135 of Podcast 2 for 1. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. That way you're up to date on all future episodes of Podcast 2 for 1, as well as the cool content we have at 2 for 1 Studios, youtube.com/2 for 1 Studios, the best place to consume the content. Of course, if you didn't know, and let's just face it, you probably did not, we are sponsored by Kapow Comics, located at 4047 East Kill Avenue in Sherwood, Arkansas. There they have comic books, collectibles, graphic novels, and of course, special guest appearances throughout the year.
Kapow.
Daniel, this is they don't know this yet unless they saw the title of the video or the podcast.
Right, yeah.
But this is like our first podcast, I think, in a long time where we're not reviewing something.
It's been a while. Like,
it's been at least over 50 podcasts.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Close to a year at least, I would think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, we've had some MCU discussions, like for shows that have devolved into that. So absolutely. But this time we're not official episodes. Yes.
Yeah, we're not talking about a particular episode or a particular series at the moment. Of course, we've got things happening: She-Hulk, Rings of Power, House of Dragon, Andor. So all those things are coming. People, just hold your horses. But we have something that's almost better than all those series. And that is, if you didn't know, first of all, climb out underneath that rock that you're hiding from all day long. Hugh Jackman is returning as Wolverine in Deadpool 3 with Ryan Reynolds, the first appearance from Hugh and from Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool in the MCU. So this is going to be an MCU Secret Wars speculation kind of video. So first of all, I saw the headline. And I read it, and then it took me a second to register what was being said, and I was like, "What do you mean Hugh Jackman's returning as Wolverine?" So I clicked on it, and then I watched the video, and the teaser that they dropped was just brilliant. First of all, and how nonchalant, because it's always been this back and forth between them. Right, there's been a fun fake feud between them of Ryan harassing each other or them harassing each other, and it's always been he's I'm not coming back, for good reason. We even covered Logan way 100 episodes back on the podcast, and we kind of review it and talk about how great of a send-up it was, and just kind of what the character meant to us and those kind of things. And it's kind of awesome that we're getting this. I always expected, I've been saying it for a long time on the pod, Secret Wars, it's the time to do it. It's the time to bring Hugh Jackman back and Robert Downey Jr. and Tobey Maguire. I've been saying it for years. And now I feel like if they can get him for this, they can get him for Secret Wars. So Daniel, how do you feel about Hugh Jackman returning? There's a big split thing on the internet right now, but some people are his send-off in Logan was perfect and we don't want to mess with that. And there's people like me who's kind of it's its own thing. It's the continuity of X-Men. They never followed each other. It's if you got a drawing board.
Well, they pretended like they did a little bit. Just really. In Days of Future Past, connecting to the reboots and the old original, just with it's just Patrick Stewart and Logan, and Logan has been the kind of through line of consistency through everything, right? He's appeared in every version of any kind of X-Men we've received, right?
The only movie he hasn't appeared in is Dark Phoenix and New Mutants, which I forget New Mutants exist, but yes.
Didn't he have one scene in New Mutants? Oh no, New Mutants is the horror movie. Never mind, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's the one that no one's seen but me.
Seriously, yes.
I literally looked it up 2 weeks ago. I was I need to watch. I was I don't own this movie, and I was I need to buy that, and I was I need to
Wow, that is a serious misstep for you.
I know, yeah. But then I was $20? I was nah, fam. I was doing the Drake thing, so I was just... But
what? I don't think you've ever referenced Drake in this podcast either. This is one for the record books, man. We're referencing Drake, where all this
right, dropping them down. But Yeah, so he's been in all of them but those, and those
Yeah.
two both come out after after Logan.
Yes.
And he did make an appearance in Apocalypse.
That's right.
For his breakout scene, right? When he's in the at Riker Island or wherever it's at.
Yeah.
Not Island or whatever it's at. So yeah, I mean, like, obviously he's made, I think it was him and Patrick were tied for 9 appearances for a comic movie. And I think Patrick broke that with Multiverse of Madness. And also I brought it up then. I was like, he's breaking what he said then. And so it might give Hugh even more of like, okay, he did it, so I can do it now too. And no one was upset that Patrick Stewart was in Multiverse of Madness, even though he said it was his last one. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, if I remember correctly, when that came out as, oh, this is the last one, it was kind of like we're doing it together. Like it's a pact. We'll both be done together because we're like these iconic characters that have been around since the beginning, and all that kind of stuff. So, no, but for me, like more Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, I'm never going to argue. There are a few actors in certain roles that everyone probably, I don't know if I could get tired of them. Right? Yeah. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, I would say Magneto by I'm blanking on his name.
Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen's Magneto. And part of that is just because we're talking about like generational talent actors in Ian McKellen and Hugh Jackman. These men do Shakespeare and musicals and Broadway, as well as comic book movies, right? Like that's just speaking, I think, to both of their caliber as talent, and part of the reason that it's hard for me to get tired of seeing either of them on screen in comic book stuff.
I agree.
But yeah, so like, give me more Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I don't stop. Honestly, like, there's been all these rumors of recasting. I'm just like, I don't know, guys. I mean, like, why don't we, for this one character, let's take the Star Wars route and never recast him. You know what I mean? This is just, Hugh Jackman will be the MCU's Luke Skywalker. We'll just digitally recreate him once he's dead or like too old, and like, it's fine. Like, no, I'm actually joking about that. I think it's a horrible idea. But I'm all about Hugh Jackman in the MCU, and I like you was hopeful / suspecting we would get him in Secret Wars. This seems to be like, almost more like, feels much more certain or likely to me.
Well, this is called the Multiverse Saga, right? So like, we know that phases 4, 5, and 6, just like the Infinity Saga encompass 1, 2, and 3. This is the Multiverse Saga, and so it makes sense to kind of keep this theme rolling out. I mean, like, it's one of the things, like, we feel like there's no direction with the MCU right now, and part of that, I mean, I don't want to make excuses for them, and I'm not. But it's also one of those things, like, whenever you can kind of do anything in the grand vastness of the multiverse, and like, you can kind of tell all these different kind of stories, thematically it kind of makes sense in the fact that there's different genres. Like, there's Werewolf by Night, there's a rated R Deadpool movie with Wolverine now, there's there's She-Hulk, like a sitcom. It's like, you're kind of like taking the theme, like, if you look at that theme, there's like we've been saying for a while, flavors of ice cream. Now you really got different flavors of ice cream. Like, the first 3 phases was really different things, different directors, but it still kind of felt in the same world, which I prefer that aspect of it. But it feels like this is really kind of doing wild, doing whatever the fuck they want. They're kind of basically these nostalgia characters, and then Secret Wars is going to happen, and it's going to condense everything back down. I think it's going to officially bring in the actual mutants after Secret Wars.
Remind me, Secret Wars is that part 2 to Kang?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not surprised. I'm not convinced yet that Secret Wars won't be 2 movies. I just don't. I
agree. I feel like we're so far out from that could change still. Even if right now it is 1 movie, I could see that changing. Once those scripts have been written, because I'm assuming maybe some of them haven't even been written yet, potentially.
Yeah.
Or like, they've probably been done concept wise. They're probably like mapping stuff out, but like, so much changes when you actually write the stuff, and then you get the directors locked in and all that kind of stuff.
No, I don't even think. I mean, we know that they're writing Kang Dynasty now, and it's the same writer as Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So we don't have a director or a writer for Secret Wars yet, and that's a huge fucking movie, and it's going to be.
They're positioning it to be on level with Endgame and
Infinity War, yeah.
right? Like,
I mean, they're kind of. I feel like they're making it sound like it's going to be bigger than that. I mean, and in all purposes,
it could.
It
could have
is.
more.
I mean, like,
it could have more characters in it. I mean, literally.
yeah. I mean, I know there's always the fear here of like blowing things up. Before we get into Secret Wars, let's kind of backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
So, again, I'm down for more Hugh Jackman in the MCU, especially because it kind of like by the time Fox's rights were reverting back to Disney, there was this like it barely missed the cutoff, and he kind of openly said like, "Hey, like I would have liked to be in the Avengers. I would have liked to play in that sandbox.
Yeah.
Like I would come back for the Avengers." This is, I think, before Logan was a thing. So, and then that plus there was always plans back in 2002 with Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire that Wolverine was going to make a cameo appearance in that movie.
Right. Or that Kevin Feige was even one trying to, I feel like I feel like I heard rumors that he was a part of that he was one that was trying to champion that.
Yeah. So Kevin back in the day, he was like a up and coming, he was like a producer,
associate producer. Yeah.
Something low level, but he was kind of there, and it's reported that he was kind of the guy that like he knew the comic book stuff, and like he did have some say, but like no one really listened to him, So so like which obviously we know how it turned out. So like there was that, and then there was the possibility of Wolverine cameoing in that movie, and so like it feels like Feige is getting to play with the toys now that he got to witness 22 years ago. I think X-Men came out 22 years ago this year, actually. So in that wild, I was 8. You were probably 2000 or so. 2000, yeah, it did, yeah, 2000 or 99.
That doesn't feel like that should be true. That it doesn't feel like that movie should be a 2000 movie.
I kind of feel like 9. It does because I was like as 8. You know what I'm saying? Like that's that's what I was telling.
I still remember it's probably one of the first comic book movies I was aware of coming out was X-Men.
I mean, as far as like releasing
having friends that were it
was Blade and then X-Men. That was it.
But I was too young or sheltered to even be aware of Blade. But X-Men was and plus because there was the X-Men cartoon that I watched, so there was like a direct connection to that property.
And even then, like to be fair, like I obviously knew Blade was a comic book character, but it didn't feel like I love that movie, don't get me wrong. I fucking love that movie. But it is different, Blade versus like X-Men being made. Like X-Men is more of a comic book kind of property, right?
It's more mainstream, really. Blade is very it's a bit more niche. Not everyone's into like vampires and shit. But I feel like X-Men is like, yeah, you're right. It's like it's kind of like it's one of the iconic, superheroes just in terms of like all time, groups.
Yeah.
Probably the most iconic group of superheroes.
Yeah, and so like X-Men coming out and then was to me like that was like Blade kind of opened that door a little bit, but X-Men kind of like officially like blew the door open and like, hey, this is happening. And then Spider-Man come in and just fucking wrecked them. Like
listen,
2 years after.
You jumped over the crucially important Ang Lee's Hulk. Oh wait, no, that was 2003.
That's Spider-Man 2004. 2004 is Ang Lee's Hulk.
I think
Spider-Man
was
2000. You could be right.
It's 3. But is Spider-Man 2?
Spider-Man 2 came out in 2004, yes.
No, 1 was 2002.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, Spider-Man 2 has to thank Ang Lee's Hulk for its success, obviously.
I fucking hate that movie. I was 10 years old, or I was 11 when that movie came out. I remember like being upset walking out of the theater as an 11-year-old. Anyway, that's another conversation. But so here's more details on Deadpool 3. So there was reports, and I'd say reports, I think Ryan Reynolds come out and said this. He said that his pitch for Deadpool 3, and this was his pitch after, Deadpool 2 starts with him referencing Logan's death, right?
Right.
That's it. That's how it starts. But so Ryan has been trying to get Hugh back even from then.
Sure.
And so and his pitch, I think, for Deadpool 3 before the merger happened, before Disney bought Fox, was that it would be a road trip movie with him and Wolverine. That was his pitch. And obviously, the merger happened, and obviously, Logan was,
sure.
Everyone was like, no, he's not coming back, and that kind of stuff. So it just kind of got buried. But now this is happening, and so it feels like this may either the movie will start with Deadpool sucked into the MCU, or he will be in the X. Yeah, that's what I remember the end of Deadpool 2, right? In Deadpool 2, he is going back in time and he is changing the timeline, right? He is like, he's killing people. He even like talks to Wolverine. It's like, it's they cross cut it with scenes from X-Men Origins Wolverine, which Deadpool's first appearance on Ryan in that one, which was abysmal.
I remember. My God.
I forgot it was like a thing, honestly, yesterday. I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, so
I still remember in the theaters watching him pull out his claws like in the mirror, and how horrible
it looks so bad.
They were like wobbling, and they had like no, like they looked blurry. Like they had like no, like the texture on it was like, it didn't look like metal. It looked like something soft, or like
it was A, they were too thick. They were too thick. The blades were, and then B, it was too smooth, and like you have to have like Logan and like Days of Future Past, those are the best because like there's thinner blades and they've got like angles to the blades. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it looks like they use a lot of practical effects in those. With the like, they're obviously 3D, but like, at least sometimes I definitely feel like at least they look good. They look so good that I'm thinking they're using some practical props in there too. But that movie just felt like it was all CGI and just all.
Yeah, it's horrible. And then again, we know how bad they treated Deadpool at that movie.
Oh my God!
I remember coming to school the next day and catching Matt in the hallways and being like, "They fucked up Deadpool." You know, like I remember like, and like I remember that conversation we used to have.
I remember not even knowing he was in the movie, and when he gets intro, and you're like, "Holy shit, Deadpool's in this!" And then by the end of your movie, like, "Oh no, Deadpool's in this." You know what I mean? Like, look what they did to my boy. You know?
Exactly. It's one of the worst like comic adaptions ever, like in terms of like character to screen. And then they reversed and did one of the best adaptions ever with Deadpool and Deadpool 1. So
and made fun of it directly,
made fun of it directly. Like the little action figure like flying in the screen. It's Deadpool 1 and 2 are pretty great. You know?
Yeah.
So yes. So that could be still like the idea is that, you know, maybe the X-Men are pulled into the MCU or Deadpool is, and he's got to have Logan interact with him. But see, even though we're getting Deadpool and Wolverine, we're getting them in the MCU, right? We don't know how much is taking place, but to me, like, this movie will be even more special because that's not there's going to be more MCU characters in this movie. It has to be.
Probably.
Because you want the appeal of Deadpool in the MCU is that Deadpool gets to interact with the MCU now, right? Like, obviously, you could just say they could have made a movie with just like, here's Deadpool and Wolverine, and the last 5 minutes are sucked into the MCU, and like that's how we explain it. But that's not what they're doing. I mean, they even reference in today's teaser or today's like fun video that like, hey, we're in the MCU now, and like we're going to be treated right, and all that kind of stuff. You know, so it's like, So it's like, I mean, Spider-Man could be in this. I doubt it, but he could be.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. You're right. I do think there is a version of this movie where 90% of it takes place in Foxverse, and then like, you know, like last second or even a, you know, credit bumper, you know, stinger, we get them getting transported to the MCU. And like, we don't actually see we just see them getting sucked into a universe. We don't know what's happening or why it's happening or whatever. I mean, like in fact, part of me suspects that just because of like every time, other than Spider-Man No Way Home, every time I've expected any of these movies to like progress the universe, they do so with the stinger and not the whole movie. You know what I mean? Where it's like the whole movie is just like this other plot that is kind of unrelated from everything else, and then right at the end they're like, ooh, multiverse, you know, like kind of. And I know like you had, but even with Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, it was like the plot felt kind of unrelated from anything else, or like I'm sure the events of Multiverse of Madness will be referenced heavily in the future. But all that to say is I think there's a version of this movie that is exactly what you're saying, that is like, it's about, the plot is about them getting sucked into the MCU, and in fact, a meta style plot about them changing hands is like, just sounds perfect for Deadpool, right? Like, just like,
yeah,
that's what you want him to make. I mean, the amount of meta references of them getting just put into a world that's different, but this, you know, like there's just so much material just sitting there to run with.
One, Thanos is played by Josh Brolin, who's also Cable in Deadpool 2. And they even and they reference Thanos in Deadpool 2. Like they reference him because he's playing both roles. One of my favorite references in Deadpool 2 is when Cable like is fixing to kill him, he's like, "Where are you from? The DC universe?"
Yes, yeah.
That's like what is he? Because he obviously
I mean,
DC, that's one of the best references of all time.
There's a plot in here where like their universe is like collapsing in on of itself, and it's Deadpool running around with Wolverine trying to find another universe that'll let them come live with them or something.
Well, here's the thing.
There's so many options.
One, I think if there's one character that will make an appearance, it's our boy Wongers. You know what I'm saying? I think Wong.
Yeah, that's like a hole-in-one prediction.
I feel like we have to, right? Like if he is like the Nick Fury of this phase, right? He so far.
Apparently, yeah.
I mean, like he's like the Sorcerer Supreme, so he's the one that's seeing this stuff. And so like another thing is like Doctor Strange ended with the Incursions, right? We know that these are happening. We saw them visually, and that's what Secret Wars is about. The Incursions happening. Basically, they're different universes are colliding until there's, one or two competing universes left, and eventually it kind of falls apart into Battle World, which is where Doctor Doom comes in, which we're going to get in Black Panther 2 probably. Anyway,
oh yeah, yep.
Probably a stinger, but he'll be in there. He'll be the big bad.
I can't wait.
So like, and also think about this time frame wise. So Deadpool 3, it takes place, or it comes out September of 2024. So we're 2 years away from the movie now. September 2024. And the big thing is it starts phase 6. So it's like that, and then I think that following November, like 2 months later, is Fantastic Four. And then from there we have I think we have Avengers Kang Dynasty, and then that fall we have Avengers Secret Wars.
Yeah. Yeah. And at this point, like, if you're getting so close to these other character introductions, who knows who could show up in this Deadpool movie? They could use this to tease a bunch of stuff. Yeah, because I think that's important to note of, like, what will have happened in the timeline by the time this movie comes out.
Yeah.
Doctor Doom will theoretically have been introduced. Kang will have had his first, like, antagonist role, like, battled him. Quantumania seems like it could very easily maybe change the status quo of the MCU in some way. We'll see.
It does. I mean, it feels like, we keep saying this with every movie, but
I know, and getting our hopes let down. Yeah, I know.
But we know it has implications because Kang's in it.
And listen, Doctor Strange has a bunch of implications. It's just that the movie itself wasn't strong as like a piece of cinema or a piece of film. It had some character and plot weaknesses, even though you're right. It set up the Incursions, right? It set up the multiverses and how they interact with each other and all this kind of stuff. But
even to your point, it's different in the fact that Doctor Strange 2, it's trying to be about Doctor Strange. It doesn't do a good job of having an arc for him, and then also it doesn't have. It's kind of like a teaser for like the idea of the multiverse if people weren't paying attention yet, But it doesn't have any actual, in my opinion, what happens in that movie doesn't have any solid ramifications, whatever.
I think it might someday. I think
it will. I mean, it will.
Like they'll be like, well, we like, I don't know, some Doctor Doom may be like, I wasn't even aware of you until the incursion of whatever, like references specifically the events of Doctor Strange and how that set into motion all these things that we're going to see later.
I think it will, but I think the difference is where Doctor Strange is like, it's kind of teeing things up. Ant-Man feels like it's actually like it's dealing with something that's been teed up beforehand.
Well, it feels like Loki. Kang's first move, right? It's like gonna be. It almost feels equivalent to like Avengers 1 in terms of like this is Thanos. That was Thanos' first like move in terms of trying to like move on to the Avengers or defeat them, and like this feels like that too. And honestly, who knows? There could be a surprise actor in Ant-Man.
There could be. I mean, I feel like it's pretty stuffed, but I mean, real quick, let's go through it.
Yeah,
so we have
MODOK and everyone else.
We'll go through it really quick, and then I got a few other things I got to tell you before we get off here. So, one, we have Werewolf by Night. We have She-Hulk ending pretty soon. We have Werewolf by Night hitting in October. Yep. We have Black Panther finishing out the phase in November. Next year, we're starting with Ant-Man 3. Then we have Secret Invasion. We have Guardians 3. We have Echo. Then we have Loki season 2, which will definitely have implications of the multiverse. And then we have the Marvels. We have Blade.
Yeah.
And then we have Ironheart, Agatha, Daredevil, Captain America 4, and then Thunderbolts. And then from Thunderbolts, we have Deadpool 3.
I imagine Captain America Civil or New World Order. I mean that's a very ominous subtitle. And I'm like,
well, it's the title of the first episode of Falcon Winter Soldier, and it's we know the leader's gonna, and the leader is the bad guy in New World Order, which the leader, yeah,
and
so
from the Incredible Hulk,
yeah, and I think from that She-Hulk, I think we will have a World War Hulk movie. I think somewhere in between in Phase 6. I think
sounds cool.
I think it might happen, just based on kind of things that are kind of happening. Or I don't know. But Thunderbolts, I mean, do you think Thunderbolts will have any type of connection to Deadpool? Like it's ending the phase and Deadpool starting the next phase. Like, do you think we'll have a teaser from Thunderbolts for Deadpool?
Or they like try to get him to join and he makes fun of them or something. I mean, like there's so many options, because like he is one that you could fit in that group. You know what I mean? But he isn't quite, so he's more gray, I guess. But I guess
other question for you is: do you think Kang is going to win in Quantumania? It's so early in the phase.
But I don't think. I think what I assume is like he won't win in terms of like whatever he's trying to do, he won't accomplish. I assume it'd be like Avengers 1. It'd be like he gets close, but they find a way to like, by defeating him, they just delay him essentially. You know what I mean? I think it'll be kind of like it's a victory, but it's a little bit hollow because of like the impending doom beyond it.
Yeah. Thing. Okay, two little things, a tidbit here, and then we'll kind of wrap this up with at the very end. One, we got the announcement yesterday that Deadpool 3 was going to be coming out 2024, and then later that night, real late, actually, like around 9 or 10, they also dropped, Marvel Studios and Hollywood Reporter dropped that they lost the director for Blade, and that they're doing rewrites. And so it's kind of like they snuck that one in there. That was
that was timed.
Yeah.
It was timed.
Definitely was snuck. And it's supposed to come out a year from now.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Marvel has a history of sometimes mismanaging directors or just not being able to work with everyone. It seems that there are certain types of directors that just don't mesh well with the Marvel model, and that seems to be pretty consistent though. Like, I mean, like since pretty early in the MCU's like lifetime, and so it doesn't. I'm not too worried about it because, I mean, honestly, guys, it just feels like most of these movies are like being written the day of or the day before they shoot them. I don't know. It's like just the fact that No Way Home was rewritten and written so late, just so constantly, and it was still as good as it is. And like, I'm like, that sounds like complete madness. It sounds like just like complete, just like flying blind. Everybody's just trying to figure something out as they go, but to an extent, it's working for them. So I'm gonna just some kind of whatever method they've got going on. To an extent, it's been working, and so I don't think this is necessarily doom and gloom. I mean, I think it's. I wasn't really familiar with that director's work, and we'll see. What the next director is like, but it doesn't bother. It doesn't worry me too much, I guess.
All I want is my boy Kit Harington suited up as the Black Knight.
He's got to be. I got to.
I'm really hoping. I'm hoping it's like a Blade is teaching the Black Knight. And like
that'd be awesome.
And they're going after Dracula together or something. That's what I want to see.
I love it.
There was a little bit of rumor. This as a side note, I don't think it's true, but I think it's Anthony Starr from The Boys was going to play Dracula.
I saw that. Yep. He'd be a good one, man. He'd be a real good one.
He would be a good one.
I mean, I kind of hope they save him for like a bigger character because I think he's actually a really good actor and like. I kind of
want him to be like a hero, not a villain, personally, just because it
would just be interesting to see him as a hero versus like the only. I guess he's almost typecasted a little bit as a villain. Feels like.
Yeah, I mean, how can you not be? When you so jerk off on the.
He's one of the best.
On the city skyline.
And honestly, he's one of the best like actors and characters on that show. So.
Absolutely. Here's the other thing. Kevin Feige came out yesterday and said, I would love to keep working with Elizabeth Olsen as long as I possibly can. And he said that there are so many more stories we have not told yet with that character. And he said that it would be he said, he goes, I didn't see her fall underneath the rubble. He said, all I saw was the rubble fall and a flash of red light. That's what Kevin Feige said yesterday.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
at this point,
it's more confirmation, right? I mean, like we suspected, but does it make you feel a little bit better about that movie since she didn't die from that?
No, because honestly, I never believed she died. I never believed that the MCU would kill off an Oscar-nominated actress off screen in like a hero and like let her die on like a sad note or a bad note, right? They weren't ever going to do that. They're too marketably for that for something, you know what I mean? Like that's leaving money on the table just at a basic finance and marketing level, and they're just not gonna do that. And two, it's just like, I mean, Elizabeth Olsen loves the role. She's great at it. Everyone loves her in it. Robert Downey Jr. had been doing it for 10 years and was ready to kind of move on. You know what I mean? Like that's when you kill off Tony Stark. That's when you kill off, Captain America. Not, halfway through or when like they're at kind of the height of their like popularity.
Yeah. Quite okay. We're getting close on time here. Two more questions. One, over or under, do you think Elizabeth Olsen will stay a villain throughout the rest of her time in the MCU? I mean,
no
also I don't know if I want her to go good guy now. I mean, like she fucking did like some of the worst stuff ever in the MCU to like villain wise. At least visually. I
think there's a chance she gets heavily involved in the X-Men plots in the future. I mean, like she's isn't she part of even like the Apocalypse stuff in the
she's Magneto's daughter.
And exactly. So I mean, I think there's a lot. I think she's pretty easily redeemable. She may end up having to like sacrifice herself for everyone to feel okay about that, but like that may be like her end game. But yeah, I mean, I think it could work either way. I personally want to see her as a good guy again, kind of as like the fanboy in me, just because I think I liked her character and like the kind of grief stuff they explored in WandaVision. I thought was really poignant and just it made me really like her character as like the person that it was. And so yeah.
Well, for it to work, in my opinion, she really needs to be explained that she was really heavily seduced by the Darkhold and like in a better way, like. Yeah. Mephisto, give me back Mephisto, baby.
I mean, at this point, he's got to come.
Last question. If you could pick two characters from the legacy Marvel movies to be in Secret Wars, who would they be?
The legacy Marvel movies? What do you mean legacy Marvel movies?
I mean, like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. You could do, I can't think of his name, but the guy, Fantastic Four guy, you do Michael Chiklis as the Thing. You do Wesley Snipes as Blade. You can do Ben Affleck as Daredevil.
Yeah.
I would fucking love. I mean, I want all of them in there. But
Edward Norton's Hulk? No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
Yes. I mean, I actually do hope they have Edward Norton show up as Bruce Banner.
I hope we have Eric.
And I hope they in a throwaway line, like explain the recasting as a multiverse jump that no one ever knew happened until then. Like in this throwaway line, you're like, oh, yeah, I mean, like, have
you not watched She-Hulk? I mean, like,
no, I haven't caught up yet.
There's a direct line.
Okay,
about
that's
this.
interesting. Yeah, I'm excited to see that. That's cool. That makes me want to see it even more now. I mean, Tobey Maguire's obviously up there. I think Hugh Jackman would have probably my top list would have been Hugh Jackman and Ian McKellen, who I mentioned earlier.
Why would you want? I mean, I get having Ian McKellen, but it's like they've been so like get someone that's like I don't know.
Who?
Ian McKellen's going to be in it. I mean, like we're talking about dream pools here. Like Toby back in Secret Wars is like awesome.
That seems like a given though. Now that he's already been back for No Way Home and he's open to doing more, like that seems like that's I'm almost like, of course he's going to be in there. I would love, like Aaron Taylor Johnson's, or not Aaron Taylor Johnson. The other Peter Evans. His Quicksilver. It'd be fun to have him back.
We had him in WandaVision, though.
Yeah, but like actually back, not as Dick Johnson.
I would like to see Michael Fassbender and
sure,
they were amazing. They were great. James McAvoy. I mean, I think if I really had to pull here, obviously, I would love Michael Chiklis as the Thing. That's one.
It's a good one.
They don't really, he won't like match aesthetically to like the MCU.
Yeah.
But
he's in all his practical makeup and then stuff.
I love him as
it would kind of be awesome if they still did him like that, like as an homage.
I think it'd be incredible. He looks like that, and there's the MCU's the thing, you know. I mean, if I had to pick two of them, it would have been Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and Toby, because I'm assuming still we're getting Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., we're getting Chris Evans back.
Yeah, of course.
I assume we're getting those guys back. So to see like Iron Man, because that's what you want. I mean, Spider-Man, Wolverine, the Avengers. That's it. Once you do that, you're like, you did it. Like, you don't need to do any more.
And at this point, I mean, Lou Ferrigno's Hulk seems like a likely person to come in. You know what I'm saying? Like that seems possible at this point.
I would lose my fucking mind.
He's already been in the MCU twice, or no, he's been in the old Spider-Man movies, and now he's been in the MCU once.
Yeah, he's in Incredible Hulk, and he did the voice for Hulk, I believe, in Avengers 1.
Okay, well, he was in no, never mind. You're right. It was Incredible Hulk. Yeah.
Pizza.
That's right. Yeah. So I think it has the potential to be a lot of fun. That'll Secret Wars movie.
I also want my boy Wesley Snipes back.
Sure.
I also want. I mean, I would love Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider. I would like flip out.
Wow, that'd be pretty cool. I could see him doing it totally.
Why wouldn't he? You know, then also like, I mean, even if it's just like he's a character in the background,
exactly,
that's like driving in. You know what I'm saying? That plus, I mean, you also got fucking.
I mean, if it's Nicolas Cage, he's gonna have one line. It might be like, "Hey," to the other guy or something. Like you know what I mean? Like,
it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. Okay, Daniel, how can our listeners write into us?
Listeners, you can write into bit.ly/241mail. Let us know what you think will be in the Secret Wars movie. I was searching my brain trying to think of other like legacy characters that we've seen on screen that could make an appearance, and I'm sure there's more. I mean, Turbo Man. We could see Turbo Man up there. But if there's any we missed, if there's any
you trying to upset me?
legacy characters that we missed, bit.ly/241mail.
I really would like Ben Affleck as Daredevil. I
would actually. I actually liked that movie more than like most people.
Do like that movie. I still like.
Elektra is weird, but
I've never seen Elektra. Isn't that wild?
Yeah,
I've never seen
that is
movie.
Weird. That is a huge gap. Yeah,
I know. Yeah, I know. I'm not even a fan anymore.
Nope.
Anyway,
I'm taking your membership card.
Please take it. If you can't hit up our bill, you can always leave a comment in the comment section below. Assuming you're on youtube.com/241 Studios, the best place to consume the content. Of course, we're also on all podcast services, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. If it's out there, you can find us. We're on everything. So anyway, guys, like, subscribe to the channel, show your love and support. Daniel, thank you for being on the podcast. Of course, we are. I'm glad we got to do this and keep talking about it. It's fun doing we're running out of time, but we would keep talking. True. My name is Donovan Thompson.
I'm Daniel Wingfield.
And we have spoken.